दिवसाच्या दंपार पळोवणाऱ्यांक म्हजो मायमोगाचो नमस्कार. हांव फ्रँकी फर्नांडीस, मेलबर्न, ऑस्ट्रेलियाचो तुमकां ह्यो गोंयच्यो खबरो कोंकणींतल्यान पावयतां. सुरवातेक तुमकां सगळ्यांक हॅपी न्यू इयर 2026. आज जानेराची 17 तारीख. सुरवातेक खबर. उत्तर गोंयांत आरांबोल हांगा 2 दिसांची न्यूड पार्टी जावची आसा. ही पार्टी जानेराच्या 18 आनी 19 तारखेक सेगीत जावची आसा. ही खबर इंस्टाग्राम हाचेर अंजुना_वाइब्स हाणें हो व्हिडिओ घातलो आनी हाचेर सुमार 400 लोकांनी म्हायती खातीर कमेंट बी केले. हो व्हिडिओ सुमार 50,000 लोकांनी शेअर बी केलो. ही न्यूड पार्टी गोवा हाची टिकेट्यो आमकां म्हायती मेळ्ळे ते प्रमाणे सुमार 650,000 रुपया. आनी गोंयकारांनी हे न्यूड पार्टे बाबतींत गोंयचे पुलीस DGP आनी मुखेलमंत्री डॉ. प्रमोद सावंत हाच्या नदरेन हाडून दिलां. पूण गोंयकारांनी हे पार्टी हाचेर निशेध मारला.
Nude party in Goa. Is this our Goa? In 2011, our dear Tomazin Cardos had brought out a theatre called Goa Goan, on the basis of which we saw a Hindi movie, Goa Gone, which was released in 2013. They were warnings of things to come. We got upset, even I got upset, especially with the movie for depicting our Goa in such bad light. We did not want to see the truth. People several years back came to Goa for the white sands, the lovely palm swaying coconut trees, the blue waters, untouched hills and landscape. Many foreign tourists even came to Goa and lived in beach huts of common man, the simple fisher folk. It was a simple life, beautiful life. We did not have fancy restaurants, no upscale eating joints, just our fish curry, hotels as they used to be called, and without fail, taverns in the villages. All were happy. Our Goans were happy. What was once our beautiful Goa, a piece of heaven on earth, soon began to get exploited by people who came here for selfish commercial motives. The audacity was so much that one builder even put an advertisement, "Delhi rulers of India now conquer Goa." This is the reality that Goa is changing. Priorities of the Goa government is completely wrong. We can see that everything changed since 2012. There was no vision and it was only commission, and money was the sole driving force to promote anything. Goa government has now announced spiritual tourism as an initiative, but this spiritual tourism seems to have been exploited for pure commercial gains with notorious intent. You may remember that in December 2025, we had stopped an event called Kama Sutra Christmas, which was seeking to exploit Christmas festival, linking it to Kama Sutra. By the end of the year, we heard of Neo Tantra, sacred intimacy, another event which again was clearly sinful with sinful overtones. Now the latest is a reel promoting Nude Party Goa to be held in Arambol, Perne on 18th and 19th January 2026. Saying that it is a secret party, people are even being asked to DM, which means send a direct message for details. Have we gone so low to allow ourselves and our sacred land to be made venues for such sinful behavior? Have we Goans become so cheap that we allow ourselves and our lands to be available for a price at the cost of our heritage and our identity and culture? How is the Goa police and the tourism department not aware of this? How has no action been taken? Is it because someone is collecting hafta with blessings from the top? I appeal to all our people to come out and stop such events. What was Goa once upon a time will not be our golden, beautiful Goa if we don't act now and stop such rot. We don't need such tourism. We don't need such tourists. If the tourism department cannot handle such matters and wants to encourage such sinful tourism, it needs to be wound up and shut down. We have had enough.
It has been widely publicized that a nude party is going to take place in Goa on the 18th and 19th of January. Now, this kind of an activity is certainly not part of our Goan culture, our tradition, and it goes against the whole social fabric of Goa. It is something that is almost being pushed into what Goan culture is, and it's being widely advertised abroad as such. And we are very unhappy about this because it raises a lot of moral issues as well, which again we are very concerned about, especially for our younger people. These kind of activities are also designed to encourage immoral behavior like rapes, trafficking, prostitution, drug abuse, and overuse of alcohol. And again, our young people are being exposed to this in a very, very systematic way, almost done very hiddenly. And we find that these kind of activities actually need to be banned in order that Goa will retain its moral values and its cultural values, which we highly value. So we would like to bring this concern not only here in Goa but abroad, because Goa is being advertised as a place for free sex and drink, while Goa has got its own beauty for tourism. So the whole question of what kind of tourism do we want in Goa? Do we want this kind of a tourism, or do we want something that is actually eco-friendly and in keeping with our own cultural traditions? And we have lots of that examples of that kind of tourism that can be encouraged here in Goa. The state is certainly not taking responsibility for this, and there's absolutely no regulation about such events taking place. We are aware that earlier such kind of activities came under the guise of something spiritual, and there was a noise made about it. And while there was notice given that these were going to be banned, we are aware that they actually did continue in a very secret way. So the administration needs to take this up seriously and regulate these kind of events so that we can preserve our culture and our way of being, our traditions that are very beautiful, in a way that tourism can take these on, and the state needs to take responsibility for this.
दुसरी खबर, बर्च बाय रोमियो लेन या अपघातान 25 जण मरण गेल्या उपरांत आता गांवचो आमदार मायकल लोबो हाणें सांगलां की ताणें गोंयचो मुखेलमंत्री प्रमोद सावंत हाचे लागीं मागलां की गोंयांत एक नायट क्लब पॉलिसी हाडची म्हूण.
क्लब पॉलिसी मुंबय आहा आनी खंयचे स्टेटीन आहा, दिल्ली आहा, सो क्लब पॉलिसी फॉर्म करपाक जाय ही हांवें सीएमाक सांगल्या की जाता तितले बेगीन. जाय जाल्यार एसेंब्लीन तुका घालूंक जाय जाल्यार आतां एसेंब्ली येता आमची 10-12 तारीख, तितूनय घालूंक जाय जाल्यार घाल, आनी एक क्लब पॉलिसी बार एंड रेस्टॉरंट आतां घेता, विच इज रॉंग. वेन यू आर रनिंग अ क्लब अप टू 5 o'clock in the morning, you should have a club policy where all these NOCs are required. After you get this NOC, only Panchayat can give a license.
तर आमी ह्या नायट क्लब पॉलिसी हाचे बाबतींत आमचो इश्ट मुंबय हांगा रावपी अवॉर्ड विनिंग जर्नलिस्ट योगेश पवार हाचे लागीं विचारलें मुंबयचे नायट क्लब पॉलिसी गोंयांत चलतली की ना.
Well, it's about time that the Goan authorities woke up to this very real danger of how people who go to nightclubs go there to have a good time and not to die. So about a month ago, we had this horrific incident in Arpora where 25 lives were lost. So in that sense, that they are bringing in some kind of regulation to ensure that there's fire safety norms in place is a good thing, and it should be welcomed, and it will be welcomed by everybody. But what is being voiced is also very real, the fear that this should not become a convenient excuse to create an alibi for abuse and exploitation of the women who will be brought there to perform. So this is something that we need to guard against, because this is exactly how it played out in Mumbai when Mumbai's dance bars were around. All the mechanisms that were put in place in the name of safety, but then they slowly started becoming only an effort at policing the women and trying to make money on the side from both the women and the bar owners. So this kind of corruption should not be allowed to fester or start in the first place.
अनेक महत्वाची खबर 16 जानेवारी 1967 जावन आसा गोंयचे इतिहासीक ओपिनियन पोल हाचो दीस आनी आज 59th एनिवर्सरी मनयतात. 1967 वर्साक गोंयकारांनी गोंय आपले एक युनीक आयडेंटिटी राखपा खातीर महाराष्ट्रा लागीं गोंयचें मर्जर हें नाकारलें. ह्या वेळार आमी एडवोकेट राधाराव ग्राशियस हाचे लागीं विचारलें ताची राय.
Opinion poll is now 58 years old, I think, 1967, January 16. And I think the very purpose of the opinion poll is no longer served. The purpose of the poll was to maintain Goa's unique identity, socio-cultural, and to prevent its merger with Maharashtra. But what has happened over the last 5, nearly 6 decades is that Goa has not been merged with Maharashtra, but instead Maharashtra, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, all these has been merged into Goa. So if you go anywhere now, it's difficult for you to find a Goan on the road. So to that extent, the purpose of the opinion poll has not been served. Secondly, in those days, it is the people from what are called the Velhas conquistas, the old conquest, who solidly supported non-merger, voted to maintain Goa's unique identity, separate identity. Only a small percentage of the people from the Novas Conquistas supported non-merger. So together with that, 55% of the people supported non-merger and 45% wanted merger. Sometimes I wonder how, if all Goans are one, how is it that 45% of the people wanted to merge with Maharashtra? It doesn't make sense to me. It means there's a large section which did not want Goa as it was. But then in the post-election opinion poll period, the power again vested in the very people who wanted to merge Goa with Maharashtra. And it is this section that have been ruling Goa since then. The chief ministers have come from Pedne, from Satari, from Sankeli, mostly from that area. And Goa is being governed as if it is part of Maharashtra. Goan interests are not being protected. Overall, I don't think that people have benefited as such. And finally, let me also point out that the descendants of those who solidly stood behind non-merger, those who supported Konkani, their descendants are now on a big scale migrating abroad. They are there in Australia. You have 2 members of parliament of the Goan origin. There are 3 members of parliament in UK. There are so many councillors. And thousands of our people are deserting the Goa, which they have to protect. And they are running away. Obviously, it's an indicator that something is wrong. Because those who fought for Goa would not go away if everything was all right. So I think that things aren't going properly. And very soon, Goa as we knew may disappear.
देव बरें करूं तुका एडवोकेट राधाराव ग्राशियस तुवें आमकां तुजो मोलादीक वेळ दिलो म्हूण. गोंयांत सद्याक 5 दिसांचे विधानसभेचे बसणेक म्हणजे विंटर सेशन चालू आसा. विरोधी पक्षाच्या आमदारांनी गोंयच्या बीजेपी सरकाराची भरपूर टिका केल्ली आसा. ह्या विधानसभेचे बाबतींत आमकां आनी माहिती दिता आमचो इश्ट जेराड डिसोजा गोंयांतसून.
Today is the last and final day of the winter session, the week-long winter session of the Goa Legislative Assembly. A short session, no doubt, but a lot has happened during this session. Firstly, there was a discussion regarding Vande Mataram. You know, the opposition has alleged that this discussion is only being held because of instructions that have come from the central BJP to honor 150 years of Vande Mataram. But the opposition's allegation that this was being done only to divert from issues facing Goa, that is the Birch fire tragedy, the land grab, the land conversion that is being happening, does hold some water, especially given the fact that discussions on these issues were not being allowed, citing that the matter is sub judice pending before courts and that they cannot be discussed before the Goa Legislative Assembly. A view that has been challenged by many, including former Chief Justice of the Allahabad High Court, Justice Fairdeen Rebello. Besides that, there was, during this discussion on the Vande Mataram, there was a heated argument between AAP's Venzi Villegas and the Chief Minister, Dr. Pramod Sawant, who got all angry and aggressive when Venzi pointed out that there was very little contribution of the RSS and leaders of the RSS to the Indian freedom movement. Venzi challenged the Chief Minister to list out even 4 names of people who were involved in the India's freedom struggle belonging to the RSS, something the Chief Minister said he would do but ultimately did not do in any convincing manner. Even some of the names that were taken by the Chief Minister were not actually people as belonging to the RSS, is what the opposition said. On the land conversion issue, there was another heated argument between Vishwajit Rane and Yuri Alemão, with the former claiming that it is the Congress who has been destroying Goa and not the BJP. He claimed that Congress during its tenure had converted vastly more significant land than the present BJP government, in which he is the Chief Minister since he is the Town and Country Planning Minister since 2022. There were also a couple of bills that were passed. Bills that included changes to the Goa Panchayati Raj Act, another bill called the Jan Vishwas Bill, which the government claims is promoting ease of doing business, decriminalizing several minor offences by the business community. But the opposition has alleged that these bills are nothing but an attempt to allow those who are responsible for the Birch tragedy to get away scot-free, to get away with a lighter punishment. They pointed that this bill was brought out with effect from 2nd December 2025, which is about 3 days before the Birch tragedy took place. The opposition's challenge was that if this bill is really about reducing the compliance burden on businesses, if this bill was really about lessening the offences for genuine errors made by the business community, why is it being enacted with retrospective effect? More than that, the question is, why is the imprisonment being taken away for the same offences that led to the Birch tragedy? Why is their fine been enhanced but imprisonment taken away? Is this a move to allow the owners of the Birch Club to get away scot-free? These were just some of the questions that were raised during the recent Goa Legislative Assembly election.
खबर आतां चिंबेल गांवांतसून. चिंबेल गांवांत गोंयचो BJP सरकार हांगा एक युनिटी मॉल बांदून हाडपाक प्रयत्न करता. पूण गेल्ल्या सुमारांत पणजेचे प्रिन्सिपल डिस्ट्रिक्ट एंड सेशन्स कोर्टाने ह्या युनिटी मॉल हाचें काम बंद करपाक आदेश दिला. कोर्टान चिंबेल गांवचो पंचायत हाचो सेक्रेटरी तसोच ब्लॉक डेव्हलपमेंट ऑफिसर आनी डेप्युटी डायरेक्टर ऑफ पंचायत हांणी दिल्ले ते परमिशनां रद्द केली. गेल्ल्या 19 दीस मायज चिंबेल गांवच्या लोकांनी ह्या युनिटी मॉल प्रोजेक्ट हाचे बाबतींत आपलें झूज मांडलां आनी चेन हंगर स्ट्रायक बी चालू आसा. गांवच्या लोकां प्रमाणे हे युनिटी मॉल गांवचें पर्यावरण नश्ट करतले.
We are extremely grateful to the Honorable Principal District Judge of North Goa. He has squashed and set aside the order of the BDO as well as the order of the Deputy Director of Panchayats, and as well as he has squashed and set aside the construction license issued by the Secretary of the Village Panchayat of Chimbel. And therefore, no activity as on today can go on at the site at Unity Mall. I also want to state that I'm very grateful to my colleague Advocate Costa, and my senior Advocate Miss Norma Alvares and the Goa Foundation, and as well as the villagers, all the villagers of Chimbel for supporting this cause.
युनिटी मॉल हाच्या संदर्भातलो केंद्राचो प्रोजेक्ट असल्या कारणान आमी घाई गडबडीत हो निर्णय घेवपाक शकना म्हणून तांकां सोमार किंवा मंगळार तांकांय उलोवपाक आपयल्या. बट तुमकां विश्वासान घेतल्या शिवाय आमी ही कोर्टान केस चॅलेंज करचे ना. तुमकां विश्वासान घेवनूच ह्या प्रोजेक्टाच्या बाबतींतलो निर्णय जो आसा हो फुडें ठरतलो. बट तुमकां विश्वासान घेवन ठरतलो. हांव परत एकदा सांगता, कारण टोटल 4.5 लाख स्क्वेअर मिटर गव्हर्मेंटाच्या प्रॉपर्टींतलो आमी हो 20,000 जागेर फक्त प्रोजेक्ट बांदताले. बट ह्या बाबतींतले निर्णय हो तुमचे जे आतां 4 जाणांक आमी मेळ्ळ्या किंवा तुमच्यातल्यानी 5-6 जाण पयलीं मेळ्ळे हांकां विश्वासान घेतल्या उपरांतूच निर्णय जातलो. आयच्या घडीक आत्ताच्या घडीक तो निर्णय जो आसा केंद्राचो प्रोजेक्ट असल्या कारणान हो निर्णय आमी आत्तां घेवंक शकना. बट हांव तुमकां इतलें आश्वासन दिता की तुमी तळे तुमचे राखपा खातीर जी लढाई केल्या ते तळे राखपा खातीर सरकार पूर्णतः तुमच्या बरोबर आसा. म्हाजें पयलींच्यान मत तेंच आशिल्लें की तळ्याक आमकां खंयसरूच डिस्टर्ब करपाचो ना. पुराय तळे हे तुमच्या खातीर जे तुमी गांवा खातीर जे राखून दवरपाचें म्हटलां ते तळे राखून दवरपा खातीर सरकाराचो विजन एक क्लियर आसा की बाबा वॉटर बॉडी घेतली ही प्रिजर्व करची आनी ताच्या खातीर सरकार खंयच्याच बाबतींत ते कॉम्प्रोमायज करचो ना. तळ्या खातीर तुमी म्हटलां तशें नोटिफाय करपाक सरकार तयार आहा. म्हज्या रिक्वेस्टाक मान दिवन तुमी आयचो तुमचो स्ट्रायक हांगासर कॉल ऑफ करचो आनी तुमी परत एकदां म्हणजे सोमार किंवा मंगळार ठरोवंक ना फक्त हांवें आणि नोटिफाय करपाचें 100% फायनलायज जाल्ल्या आमी नोटिफाय करता. हे 100% आतांच म्हणजे हांगासर बाकीचो आमचो आमदार विरेश आनी LOP वा प्युरी आसा तांच्या विशीं डिस्कशन करतना सांगला. फक्त हेजो फायनल निर्णय जो आसा तो फायनल निर्णय करता आसतना तुमचे 4 आमदार तुमचे 4 हांगासले तुमचे येयल्ले रिप्रेझेंटेटिव्ह आमचे दोन्ही आमदार हांकां दोगांयक आफोवन फायनल निर्णय तुमकां सोमार किंवा मंगळार तांच्याच थ्रू जो कितें आहा पळय पॉझिटिव्हिटी तुमकां कळयतलें.
गोंयचो पारंपरीक कार्निवाल फेब्रुवारीच्या 13 तारखेक पर्वरी हांगा सुरू जातलो. ह्या वर्साक कार्निवालाचे परेड पणजे, मडगांव, वास्को, मोर्जेम आनी म्हापसा हांगा जातले. ह्या वर्साक किंग मोमो जावन आसा मडगांव गांवचो आमचो खास इश्ट पत्रकार भाव सेड्रिक दाकोस्ता. ताचे मागणे ह्या वर्साचे कार्निवाल इतिहासीक जावचें म्हण तो आमच्या लागीं उलयलो.
ह्या वर्साक आमचो गोंयचो कार्निवाल सदांचे परी जावंक जाय सामको कम्युनिटी कार्निवल. सगळे आमी एक जावपाक जाय. आमी हिंदू, क्रिश्चन, मुस्लीम सगळे एक जावन आमी हे कार्निवलाची मेसेज सगळे संवसाराक दाखोवंक जाय की आमी गोंयकार युनायटेड. वी आर सेक्युलर, वी आर व्हेरी मच इन द वायब ऑफ कार्निवल. कार्निवल म्हणजे आमचे सगळ्यांचो एक अस्मिताय, आमची एक हेरिटेज ती जावन आसा. आनी ह्या वर्सा आमी सगळे एकठांय जावन आमचो फ्लोट्स जावन आमचे प्रेझेंटेशन करतले, आमी आमचे बारीक बारीक प्रोग्राम्स जे करतले ते सगळे आमी एकठांय जावन करपाचे आनी लोकांक दाखोवपाचे की गोंयकार म्हणजे युनायटेड आनी कार्निवल म्हणजे सगळे गोंयकारांक एक करता. आनी आमी हे सगळे संवसाराक दाखोवपाक जाय. आमचे ट्युरिस्ट भाव येतले, आमचे इंडियन्स येतले, आमचे फॉरेनर येतले, तांकां सगळ्यांक दाखोवपाक जाय एकूच मेसेज की कार्निवल म्हणजे गोंयची एक व्हड अस्मिताय आनी आमी सगळे युनायटेड जावन हे कार्निवल फेस्टिवल आमी सोबयतात. वेल, द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ कार्निवल इन गोवा स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम द ग्रास रूट्स, द विलेजेस, the communities coming together and starting off, and it started off with small time khel theatre, amche zomniwale khel, and then the showcase of all this reached the cities, and as in the floats happened. And the floats this year are going to be exactly a replica of what the carnival used to be, a little bit of nostalgia, because for every carnival we have to go back to our roots, take lessons from them, meet our elders, take a few instructions from them, because most of the carnival happens in the communities, in the villages of Goa. And from there, as you say, it comes to the cities, then the tourists take it to the world over. And this time, we are going to engage Goans who have been all across the globe, the diaspora. We are going to connect with them in a very special way to come down, if possible, and also celebrate the essence and the spirit of Carnival.
देव बरें करूं बाब सेड्रिक दाकोस्ता, तुवें आमकां तुजो मोलादीक वेळ दिलो म्हूण. तर ह्यो जावन आसल्यो आमच्यो सुसेगाद दनपार गोंयच्यो खबरो मेलबर्न ऑस्ट्रेलियासान. मेळुया दुसऱ्या सोमारात. ते मेरेन मोग आसूंदी.